DoctorAche reviews Netflix's The Open House. Short review. This movie shows signs that it could have been good, but it was not committed to, or it just didn't have the right people working on it. Writing gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I'm giving it a 6 because it did have things in it that weren't horrible. And the worst parts of this movie are probably only as bad as they are due to execution rather than writing. So writing gets a 6. Beginning gets a 4. It's just predictable. It doesn't feel professionally shot, and it's just not good. It feels rushed and not fake, but just not organic, if that makes sense. Ending gets a 5. Some things I really liked about this ending, like the man getting the knife within reach of the mother, but because he broke all of her fingers, it might as well be a million miles away. Also, I liked Logan having to run through the woods at night without glasses or contacts. Both really great, but they weren't good enough to save the rest of what happened. Characters get a 5. That's just... I'm just going to move on. Performances get a 5. There were some good performances and some not so good. They averaged a 5. I will give credit where credit is due, and the performances weren't terrible at all. There were good ones, there were bad ones. Yeah. Timing gets a 4. Bad pacing. Bad pacing. Sound gets a 2. I did not like the sound effect choices. Score. The score gets a 2. The score was so mediocre, it actually actively hurt this movie. The score was awful. Visuals get a 4. Not a fan. Believability gets a 5. It's believable, but there are things that aren't believable in this movie. Certain character interactions and decisions just aren't believable. Relatability gets a 5. Pretty much the same feelings as believability. Editing gets a 3. The edit helped kill this movie. It couldn't have been saved, but it could have been helped in the edit. And the opposite, I think, happened in this movie. Antagonist gets a 4. I like that we never clearly see his face. He doesn't really make sense, though. He stays in the basement of this house for days and days, doing nothing but occasionally turning off the water heater, moving cereal bowls and phones, and taking pictures of them while they're sleeping, while occasionally making spooky sounds or something. Twist gets a 5. I guess the 2 red herrings could be a twist, and the fact that the protagonists both die. Cry. This movie did not make me cry, but like I said in the short review, the scene where the mom and son argue, and the son says that he wishes she had died, did actually have some emotional impact. So if someone was going to cry, I think it would probably be from this scene. Message gets a 6. From what I gathered, the message that they were going for could probably be summed up by the character Martha, you know, the insane one with Alzheimer's, when she said, and I quote, "Death. It's like it moves in and never leaves." Take from that what you will. Production value gets a 3. This movie would have been so much better if they spent the extra money on the right people to put this movie together. Overall enjoyability gets a 3. I felt like it felt like a movie I'd seen a million times. It's predictable and unoriginal all the way. The only redeemable qualities, for me at least, was the emotional fight between mom and son that I already mentioned, and the way that the killer tortured them before he killed them, which I also already mentioned. Rewatchability / recommendability. 4. Nope. If I were to tell anybody about this movie, it would only be to show them those 2 things I just mentioned. The rest of the movie, skip. Pros and cons time. Alright. Pros. I like how this movie got it right in terms of taking out and seeing without contacts or glasses. Like, most movies, they act like you're just blind. Or like you just... I don't know. This movie, it really showed how just not having contacts or glasses on is basically just something out of focus. It's like a camera out of focus. It's fuzzy. And I just like how they got it right for this movie. Also, I liked the scene where Logan and Mom are watching a movie, and they pause it so the mom can go pee and Logan can go get more popcorn or something. And it's pretty good camera placement. Like, you can see the whole room. You can see the door that ends up opening. You see the kitchen where Logan is. You see Mom goes off. It's just a really good positioning of the camera, you know? So I will give credit where credit is due. Like I already said, another pro is the fight between Mom and Logan, where he blames his dead dad, or where she blames his dead dad for the situation that they're in, you know, them not having money, and Logan says that he wishes it had been her. That was a really amazing scene, and it just great acting, great writing, and it came out of nowhere. I really liked it. The dream sequence where Logan, goes down to the basement and sees his father was done very well too. I didn't know it was a dream until the reveal, and that's pretty rare for me. Pretty well done, because it feels like a natural part of the movie because they keep going down to that damn basement. So, you don't think anything of it, and just good job. Awesome for the killer to break all of her fingers and then put the knife in reach, knowing full and well that she can't use it now. And I love, like I said, that he takes Logan's contacts out and lets him run in the woods. Anybody with glasses or contacts knows if you cannot see, and you're trying to navigate, especially through like the woods in the dark, mind you, it would be hell. Literally hell itself. Okay, enough of the pros. Let's go for the cons. I was not a fan of the black screen opening and heavy breathing of Logan with the jarring sound effect. I guess it was supposed to put you on edge or, tell you what kind of movie this is going to be, but it just doesn't have any payoff or anything like that at all. Like, at no point in, like, the end of the movie is Logan running and we hear him breathing, like, running from the killer and we hear him breathing like that. Like, it's just stupid. Dad dying is seen from a million miles away, even if you haven't seen the trailer. Like, if you're just going to this blind, you can see it coming from, like, the first scene. It's just so obvious. And there was just something off. I never quite got my finger on it, but you can tell right away when watching. It doesn't feel professional. When it just, I don't know if it was the cinematographer or just young directors or what. It just doesn't feel professional. When they pull away from their house, their old house that they just had to move out of because they couldn't afford it anymore, the sign in front of the house says, "For rent." Like, did she not sell it? Was it not foreclosed? Stupid detail. Just, and the whole beginning and throughout the movie, it's just very by the beats and predictable, like the whole time. Just, when she almost hits the guy in the road, who I'm assuming is probably the killer, he just Houdinis. Like, she almost hits him, she stops, and they look around and he's just gone. Poof! He Houdinis on them. Like, it doesn't make sense. This movie's just very mundane, by the numbers, no risks, it's boring. Just, come on. Also, the light switch to the basement doesn't work, cliche. And also, there's a flashlight just right there. Like, sure, maybe they knew the switch was out and they, you know, put the flashlight there, but how would he know that? This was the first time he's ever in this house. And he literally, switch doesn't work, and he immediately just, he doesn't even look around. He just picks up the flashlight like he knew it was there. Like, okay. Like, he wasn't surprised it was there. There was no hesitation of, like, him looking for it. Like, it was just, oh, he knew it was there. The directing / cinematography just, it doesn't feel amateur. It just doesn't feel like it was expertly done. Also, the wood step that he steps on and breaks. I don't know if you've ever seen wood break or like a wooden step break. Wood doesn't break like that. It just doesn't. That's not how it works. And also, no one in the scene where there's a knock on the door and then there's a car in the front yard honking or something, no one would have gone outside after, like, they just moved in. They don't know anybody there. I don't think they had met anybody yet. Like, why would he go outside? It just doesn't make sense. And also, there's a predictable jump scare in there, obviously. And how did Mom not wake up from the honk or the knock? It doesn't make sense. He woke up. Why didn't Mom wake up? And why didn't he, like, say something to her? Like, hey, someone knocked on the door. Were we expecting anyone? Like, no. He just... okay. And then there's that stupid wake-up jump scare. Like, he's asleep, and that realtor dude is just, like, in the dark reaching for him. Like, that's not how you would wake someone up, and it's just a stupid, cheap jump scare. And it's just so stupid. And when they get back, when they, you know, because they're out for the day and they, you know, they get back to the house and the realtor dude, there's another jump scare for him. And he seems just way too eager to leave. Like, when they get there. Like, it kind of makes you think he's in on it, but he's not. So, like, there's no payoff. It's just dumb. Also, the score is just so basic, it hurts. Like, the score just sucks in this movie. And there's so much, there is so much suspense and scariness just wasted by the poor execution. Like, you could have made so many of these scenes suspenseful, or nerve-wracking, or scary, and they just wasted all of them. It's just so upsetting. Also, another con is when Mom goes to check on the water heater. Why didn't she get dressed? And why didn't Logan go with her? Like, she asked him, you know, and he was just like, oh no, okay, bye. Like, she didn't ask him to go with her, but, like, she asked him about the water or something. And it just doesn't... Why wouldn't she have gotten dressed to go down there? She goes down there in a towel. Like, she didn't get back in the shower after that. Was she planning on getting? Did she? And they didn't show it. Like it's just stupid. I mean, she does get back in the shower the second time, but the first time, I don't know. I'm rambling. Let me go on. Let me move on. Logan's breathing during and after the run, like as he goes on a run, isn't how a real professional Olympic trying runner breathes. It's not how people on track are trained to breathe. Also, did they leave the door unlocked? When they pull back up, they just open the door. Like they were gone for the run or wherever they went also. And the door's unlocked. Okay. They, mostly the mother, make some very rash assumptions throughout this movie. For example, she says, oh, he probably left, talking about Chris when he, showed up to do whatever. And, there's no reason for her to think that he would have just left or, anything like that. And also, she says, oh, the door must be broken. Why? What's with the assumptions? Like, it doesn't make sense. And also, why wouldn't she have gone, stayed with Chris when he's looking at the house? And why wouldn't he have said goodbye when he left? There's just a lot of little stupid things like that. Also, they really hammer in that Martha is crazy. Like, they're really hammering it in. Like, yeah, it's a red herring, but, like, they're really hammering it in this movie. And again, what's with the towel water heater thing? Like, she gets back in the second time, okay? But, like, why would she go down there in her towel? And why wouldn't Logan do it for her? And also, speaking of Logan, does the killer never turn the water heater off when Logan takes a shower? Is it only when Mom does? Like, does Logan not shower or something? Or does the killer just say, I'll let him. I want to see some titties or something. Like, I want to see if she comes back down here in a towel. Like, I don't get it. And when Logan finally does go down there to turn on the water heater, the killer, of course, decides to stand behind him. He doesn't do anything. He's just kind of there at one point. Makes no sense. And, like, what in this movie is the killer waiting for? Seriously. He's been in this house for days. I think he's in the house for like a week or a week and a half or something. Because they have like 2 open houses. And I think he arrives at the first one. So, what was he waiting for that whole time? He wasn't even messing with them that good. He moved a cereal bowl and took a cell phone and turned off the water heater like 3 times. What was he waiting for? It just doesn't make sense. Also, when Logan wakes up to go to the bathroom, he doesn't lift the toilet seat up when he pees. That's a no-no, dude. You were raised by... the ladies are in that house. No. Also, jump scare. Another stupid jump scare. There are so many jump scares in this movie. Ugh. Okay, moving on. The house... this house might be the creaky-less house, like the only non-creaky house to ever exist. Especially one in the mountains that looks kind of... it's not old, but it's not brand frickin' new. Like, the killer is literally standing feet from him, walking around. There's no footsteps, there's no creaks, there's no floorboard, nothing. Nothing. He's 3 feet from him, and he doesn't hear anything. Please stop shoehorning Martha. It gets so annoying in this movie that they keep shoving her in there. She's crazy. Shoving her in there. She's crazy. Like, we get it. Stop. Also, the second open house or whatever it is, they split up for some reason. Like mom and son. Like they had the falling out the night before that I was talking about, where he said that he wishes it had been her. And they split up. He goes for a run, and she goes into town. And, like, what was the purpose of them splitting up? Like, I get it from, like, they had a falling out standpoint, but, like, it's just stupid. And, also, when Logan started running, it, like, was the morning. It was, like, I think the open house started at, like, 9 or something. So they were probably out 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever. And he started his run. And when mom goes to pick him back up to go to the house, it's dark out. He was running that whole time. And also, when she's in town for like 5 minutes, runs into Chris, says, oh my god, I have to go back up there to the house, and then it's dark. How long did it take her to get back up there? It just doesn't make sense. There's so many things in this movie that don't make sense. Also, another little nitpick here. She went into town to develop her pictures that she'd been taking, right? And so they make it very clear in this movie that mom doesn't have any money. Like when they were out for the first open house, they went out to eat breakfast or lunch or something in the diner. And Logan had to pay because mom's card got declined and she didn't have any cash. So they really tell you this family's broke. They don't have money. Like, that's why they're living in her sister's mountain house, right? Yet she has money to keep buying cigarettes and to develop her pictures. What? Really, Mom? You're going to spend that money on pictures instead of food? I mean, they need the pictures because that's like the reveal. Oh my god, the killer took pictures of us. Like, but it just doesn't make sense from a narrative standpoint. Another thing is when the killer is torturing her, when he's breaking all her fingers, right? She is really not selling it. Like, she's screaming, but her screams are not adequate towards what you scream like when your fingers are breaking. Also, what did the killer pour on Logan? Was it water? Was it gasoline? I'm assuming it's water, but I don't know. Also, let me rewind for a second here. When they get back to the house, Logan and Mom are sketched out because, the house got decorated and there's Christmas music playing, and it's just creepy. So they have the police come over, and the police say, oh, there's nobody here, and they leave. And they say, oh, kids probably did it. And then Logan calls Chris and has Chris come in. And Chris literally says at one point, it took me a while to get used to it too. And the way he says it kind of makes it sound like he's talking about the house. Like another, way for them to say, oh, Chris is the killer or something like that. And it just, what did he mean by it? Did he mean when he moved into the mountains? Did he mean, it's just a weird statement for him to make. There's when Logan gets his head smashed into the window, it is so fake. He smashes his head in the window and then he pours the water, gasoline, whatever it is, on him. And then the killer goes upstairs, crawls into bed with Mom. Mom gets up, to go pee. There's no sound of her peeing. Did she even pee? Like, she walks in there, a few seconds go by, and then she flushes. There's no pee. You didn't hear a clunk of a turd. Like, and maybe they don't want you to hear a woman peeing in a movie, but literally Logan does the same thing earlier in the movie, and you hear him pee. It's just, I don't know. Another stupid little nitpick, but whatever. And also, she crawls back into bed, and she just like sees the photos just on her nightstand, like the photos she got developed that she didn't open, that she put on her nightstand and acted all surprised when she saw them there. Like, you're telling me she went all the way into town, picked up her photos, and didn't look at them, and proceeded to put them next to her, went to sleep, woke up, and then said, I'll look at them now. Come on, guys. Crappy writing. Come on. Okay, I already said the thing about her screams not being adequate for her being broken fingers. And after Logan frees Mom, so Logan wakes up after being unconscious and he's breathing cold, and he runs up and he saves Mom, right? He unties her. Why does he leave her? Like, why? He runs downstairs. Apparently he's trying to call somebody because he picks up the phone, and obviously it didn't work because obviously the killer is going to disconnect the phone lines, and he takes all the SIM cards out of the cell phones. Why did he leave her? Why wouldn't he take her with him? Or just, I don't know, say, screw this, grab her, get in the car, drive the hell away. Or something. Like, he just leaves her. Best son of the year right there. And then the killer puts on that stupid song that they played like 5 times in this movie. They played it for Dad when Dad died. He plays it like 3 more times when he's feeling gloomy and sitting in the bedroom. Like, what is with this song? Just enough already. The killer puts it on, and it literally serves no purpose. Like, yeah, oh, the killer was listening to you or something. It's... And then the killer, so he leaves Mom. So killer obviously grabs Mom again, right? Why would he allow her to be screaming? Like, she's screaming the whole, Logan, help me, Logan. Like, why would he let her do it? Like, maybe, yeah, he wanted Logan to freak out and come, and then he was going to have Logan, he was either going to kill Logan or kill Mom in front of Logan, or have Logan kill Mom or have Mom kill Logan. You know, he was going to do something to torture them further, right? So maybe he'd let her scream, right? But he leaves the flashlight up there for Logan. And also, how did he see where he was going? He didn't have a flashlight. He didn't have his phone out and use that as a flashlight. Like, what... There's so many little things like that in this movie that are just dumb and they don't make sense. And also, did she really just run into his knife? Like, did she really run into the knife? Like, it didn't look like killer pushed her. She ran into Logan, into the knife. Really? That's what you're going with? And also, it shouldn't have killed her. Like, it might have killed her eventually. But that shouldn't have been I'm stabbed, I'm dead. Like, no, she shouldn't have died. At least not that quickly from that wound. Okay. Logan would not have survived until dawn in the woods being hypothermic. He was soaking wet. And he ran in the woods all night. He would not have survived. He would have gone into shock and died of the cold. And especially because of the fact that he could not see. He probably wouldn't have even died of hypothermia. He probably would have just tripped over something. And he's on a mountain, remember. It's not like it's flat and he's just going for a mild... No, not a mild hike. He probably would have tripped and fallen and tumbled to his death. Or he would have broken something. Or something like that. He would have fallen, broken his leg, and then died of hypothermia. he would not have made it to dawn, and the killer wouldn't have just been there to strangle him to death or drown him or whatever he did. Okay. You know what really doesn't make sense in this movie? The amount of pointless and unfulfilled shots in this movie. For example, when Logan's dad goes to buy the eggs but forgets to get the milk that Mom told him to get. And then he's dead. Or, like, what was the purpose of showing us that he forgot the milk that Mom told him to get? Like, yeah, maybe, oh, he's not really listening to her, or, you know, something about their relationship or something like that. But, like, it doesn't have any payoff. There's no point in them showing us that. Also, the pointlessness of the wooden step breaking when Logan first goes into the basement. Nothing ever comes of it. He just kind of breaks it when he first walks down the step, and then everyone avoids that step for the rest of the movie. It's not like he tripped on his way down at the end of the movie, or tripped on his way up at the end of the movie, or anything like that. Like, it didn't make any, it didn't need to exist. Why did they show us that? Also, why was the realtor man so eager to leave? I already said this before, but it implies that he was in on it, or knew something. There's no payoff, it's just unnecessary. And why did Chris insist on checking out the house randomly? And why wouldn't he have said anything when he left? Or alternatively, why wouldn't Mom have kept an eye on him? It just doesn't make sense. And what was with that weird score swell and zoom when Logan went outside, took 2 steps into the woods? Like, I think it was when Mom was taking pictures, right? He just kind of walks outside, walks into the woods. There's this huge score swell, like something terrible. It zooms into his face, and then it just cuts to another shot, like later on in the day. What? 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 What was the point of that? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I could go on and on and on, but you know what I'm saying. Like, there's so many things that just shouldn't be in this movie. They don't add anything. They don't mean anything. They don't have a payoff. They're just not... What was the purpose? It's just not efficient storytelling. Okay, final thoughts. This movie really, really could have been something better. It could have been something half decent. If the script had got revised just a few more times, and they had hired a better director, cinematographer, and the editor decided to try, and they fired their composer, and they spent just a little bit more money on it, it could have been something half decent. I've given you most of my thoughts already, so let's just get into the rating without any further ado. Rating. 3 out of 10. Oh, have mercy. This concludes my review of Netflix's The Open House. If you want to see more videos by me, click the thingies. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions for future reviews, let me know those as well. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share this video, and I hope you tune into the next one. Bye!